Hi, Rachel. I'm Ariana. Nice to meet you.
Hey, good to meet you.
So, we see in the first episode of season two a flashback between Paulina and Samantha, where Paulina tells a story about missing shooting a wolf. And she gives the advice of if you ever see a wolf, don't miss your shot. How would you say that Samantha takes that advice this season?
Don't ever fucking miss. I think is related to um I mean when you're a foreigner and you move to a new country to try to find independence, financial independence, autonomy, control, ownership. I think it's uh about staying protective of that and being um staying focused and protective of whatever you're able to get once you get, where you are.
Yes. We see Samantha transition from being a hostess to a boss and a mama san. What were the challenges, even for you as an actor, because she's in a completely different position of her transition? And what did you enjoy about it as well?
It was so much fun. I mean, the costume designers and the makeup and hair designers are extraordinarily talented. So it was so interesting to move her from hostess to mama san in the way that she looked, and that helped so much in the performance in the club. And the club is gorgeous. Um, it was just fun.
What would you say was one of your favorite dresses as a mama san? Because you have
Oh,
so many gorgeous looks.
hands down, the silver dress with the black straps. Uh, Kurosawa-san was our designer. Oh, I'm sorry. Kurosawa-san was our designer, and they handmade all of the dresses, but that one particularly, they hand painted bamboo, uh, sort of like a sequence of bamboo along that dress. And it made me feel like the world made sense. That dress was divine. I loved the blacks. I loved it. I loved it so much.
I know exactly the dress that you're talking
Okay, it's
about.
stunning.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
stunning.
Yes. So Samantha's club is funded by the Yakuza, but she kind of refuses to follow their rules. Why is she willing to push back? And do you think it's ever possible to be separate from the Yakuza?
I mean, it's sort of that, when you make a deal with the devil, right? Like you're so, I think they designed it in a way where she is gaining control and power over something, but it's comes at a cost. And it's something she's consistently pushing up against for the whole show. So it's almost like if it's something that she's trying to be protective over and keep control of, um, there's moments of denial that it actually really isn't in her control.
Yes. Do you think it's a bit of the American arrogance that we kind of probably have in a different country of, oh, like I can kind of make my own rules because she's still very much an outsider coming in and she lived a very much different life than, let's say, the other hostesses that have lived there.
I mean, Japan, which is an exceptional country, I want to live there forever. It's the most beautiful, culturally respectful. I love Japan so much. Um, but there are barriers, particularly as a foreigner. And I think, in the early 2000s, late 1900s, where the show takes place, I think it's a particularly difficult time for a young woman to hold control of something. But that's the drama, I guess, the saga, which is, I think, what you earn with this serialization, right? Like some stories benefit from the 2 hour film and some benefit from this extended drama, because it's kind of a saga. I think it really, benefits from that serialization.
Yes. We know Samantha and Sato kind of had this thing in season 1. How would you describe their relationship in season 2? Do you think they still have a thing for each other? Do you think they could ever just be friends?
It's a complex relationship. They have an enormous respect for each other, and there's that kind of undeniable tension of attraction and respect, because they're both trying to push up against something that's pushing back at them. So it felt so trusting to be to work inside of that relationship, even if they weren't together. It's this very honest kind of friendship that that lives in like a struggle of ambition and recklessness and all that stuff.
Yeah. Um, it's kind of spoken in the show that there's the idea that the hostess job is to have the guests feel comfortable and believe their dreams come true, but then it's also said it's a place for them to be able to be honest and speak freely. But Samantha's willing to make a deal to kind of spy on her clients. Why do you think she is willing to make the deal other than having control of her club, or is that just kind of her main point?
It's kind of that there's no other option kind of thing. I think she's in that dilemma from the start, right? If you're going to start a business and the business is owned financially by the Yakuza, then it's sort of like everything gets amplified because you're holding on to a rope that's going away from you. So it's ambition and drive. It's also protection for herself, for the women who work with her. So I think, I was actually really intrigued by how much they prioritized her, putting her club and her women and her safety above anything else. And I think it's okay. I mean, we don't see a lot of female characters putting themselves first. I think it's difficult for some people. We see it in Mad Men and Breaking Bad, like we see it, but not so much in women. I'm not sure what to call it or label it, if it's selfish or an American kind of ambition. I'm not sure. I think it's out of necessity and protection, and it just comes down to that, I think.
Yeah. We see, because they're both expats, Jake and Samantha's relationship. And sometimes just me as a viewer, I'm like, why is he always coming to her just for stories? Like, do you think they have a real friendship, or could potentially be something more? Or are they just kind of two similar people in very crazy situations?
That's a good observation. I think it's that thing where, like, you recognize someone. You know, in Japan, when there are more Japanese people than any other kind of people, and then there's another American there. And I think they also respect each other. They're not as trustful, or there's not a lot of tension between them, like with Sam and Sato, but there is respect and it's just sort of like they will be mutually beneficial if they stay close together.
Yeah, but I feel like they don't have that level of trust that, like, I'm going to tell you everything. Like, I'll tell you what you need to know, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm so excited for this season and hopefully more, and I can't wait to talk to you about future projects.
Thank you so much. Good to meet you.
Awesome. Thank you. You have a good one.
You too. Bye.